All right, man, we're live, and it's Thursday. It's Thursday. It's the Big Baby and Friends Thursday. It's not Thursday. It's Wednesday.
I was about to say, what are we doing here? Pre-recorded?
I mean, nah, look, it's Wednesday. We're recording on a Wednesday because usually, we record before Thursday night football. But this year this week we're actually going to be at Thursday night football, so we can't record.
Precisely.
How we doing today, Parlay Pete?
We're doing a lot of stuff business-wise. Middle of the week. What's that? Oh yeah. Rock. Oh yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Shouts out to Jay-Z, Dame Dash, and Kareem Burks. But as if they're gonna hear me, right? But nonetheless, busy day. Wednesday, hump day is always in the business world, it's such a busy day because payroll for the most part has to be done. You're kind of setting up for next week since next week's Thanksgiving, which, by the way, we got to figure that out. Are we going to do a Thursday Thanksgiving edition? What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
I'll be in the Detroit area visiting some family. I can set my schedule around we'll talk about it.
You know what? You did text about this. I totally forgot that you did say that you were going to be in Detroit. That should be fun.
Yeah. We'll figure something out.
It's still cold in the D,
Oh yeah. Oh man, I'm taking all the layers up there. I'm taking my Tim.
You gonna go see the Lions play? Maybe they get their first win.
Absolutely not. I'm leaving Saturday. I got to make that drive back to Albany.
Yeah, they play Thursday.
They do, don't they?
You can probably get tickets for cheap. I mean, it depends. I don't know how you do for Thanksgiving. Like, I know for us, like, food was never ready until like 6. So and the Lions are always the first game. So that's like the 12 o'clock. I'm waking up and I'm smelling, the nutmeg for the sweet potato pie, the gravy for, some people call it stuffings, but others,
I'm a dressing guy myself.
Yeah. Give it the title of dressing. And so, but this is what, at that time, that's when you're smelling everything. It's not ready yet, but you can smell it. You know that Thanksgiving is here.
You know what I like that I did? I'm going to have to check and see what the itinerary is for the day. And I might try to work that out, man. Yeah.
It'd probably be fun too, to go to Ford Field, seeing a bunch of people wear brown paper bags over their face. Yeah.
Just to go watch disappointment. And, I always say we're going to do stuff in order, but we always change the order. So let's talk about disappointment, man. Let's just talk about the abomination that you went and saw, and I caught it from my couch, man. One of the worst losses in Falcons history. One of our biggest losses, since 2004?
2004, Kansas City Chiefs, 56-10 was the last time. We lost by 40-plus points. And like I said before we even got on, the Falcons went 11-5 and into the NFC Championship that year with that team.
Hey, we can still go 12-5 with this team, man. We gotta get hot.
Well, and let me tell you, it probably doesn't help that Cam Newton is back in Carolina, because now they're going to be – the Saints could fall completely off for what it's worth, but – we know that those last 2 spots are really going to come down to like 4 teams. Especially if the Falcons can at least win tomorrow, it's going to come down to 4 teams. It'll be us, Carolina, New Orleans, Minnesota. Oh, and then now you can throw in the 49ers too.
Yeah, because they're healthy, Kittle's back. But, that game is weird because Kyle Shanahan eats McVay's lunch every single time.
Yeah, they've beaten them 5 straight times. So,
it's par for the course. But back to the Falcons game, man. You were at Jerry World, and you hit the group text. You're like, man, it's dead in here. I like it. I think we got a chance. First drive, Dallas goes down, kicks us in the mouth, touchdown. Second drive, we get the ball back. We're hitting Kyle Pitts like it's nobody's business, thinking we're going to score a touchdown. We go for we hit the field goal. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. Next Dallas drive, we stop them. We get the ball back. We get the field goal range, and Arthur Smith, I don't know if he was afraid of what was going on over there or if he was trying to make a statement to DQ. But he's like, hey, I'm going to go for it on 4th and 7 in Younghoe Koo's range, and we don't get it. And after that, I'm like, it's over.
No, that's precisely when the game ended. I mean, I I think that if it was 4th and 3, maybe something like that or less, I wouldn't have felt as bad about him making that play call because we were moving those first 2 drives. We were moving the ball, and one thing you left out on that first drive, even though we did kick a field goal, what it was I think either Tajay Sharp or Alameda Zacchaeus, one of them, or it might have even been Christian Blake. At this point, we're just throwing anyone in at wide receiver. But one of those guys got the ball and they dropped it. We were going to be on the 4-yard line, 1st and goal. If he had caught the pass, he didn't. And so then you kick a field goal, and it's like, damn, that's disappointing. You know that you're going to need to score touchdowns against the Cowboys to beat them. You're not going to beat them that way, especially when that's pretty much how the Cowboys get out on people. They're not a team that really plays from behind. They're a team that gets out in front of you, and they kind of just play their style of football the rest of the game. And then, so, yeah, you do that. Then you go down. You kick that field goal. Younghoe Koo's going to make it. He's only got 1 miss on the year. He makes the field goal. You're down 1. And even if they do score a touchdown, who knows how that could have changed the game.
I don't think they go for it.
I lost anyways, but,
Yeah. I don't think they go for it on 4th down on that second scoring drive had we not gone for it on 4th down.
Yeah, and I agree. That's the same exact thing that I thought. I thought that was them purposely going to say, this is how you do it. Like, you know what I mean? And they knew up 4, the defense probably felt good about holding us to field goals just because that's how the game started. And if they get this 1st down here and they score, they go up 11, the game can effectively be over within the first, quarter. And so from there, the momentum did shift. I remember that 4th down play call too. CeeDee Lamb caught the ball. He was wide open, and the rest was pretty much history. I mean, they just really kind of imposed their will. Dak, Zeke, like I said, CeeDee Lamb, those guys, they had a day. And so there was nothing we could do about it. DQ, I don't know how it was from the TV, how it looked on your end, but I'm sure that they kept flashing the DQ. Because DQ's not on the field. He's in the booth, right? So they probably were flashing the DQ. And you know that he was happy on the inside. It felt good for them to not only beat us, but to beat the dog shit out of us. He's not going to say it, but that game was personal for him.
Absolutely, and that's why they gave him the game ball. And those 2 4th down conversions, I think what hurt the most was how does CeeDee Lamb, their best receiver, get wide open, and Michael Gallup, probably the best number 3 receiver in the league, could probably challenge Amari for number 2 because you never know what Amari you're going to get. How is he so open, so far ahead of the sticks?
I think it's bad coverage, of course. Because they were probably running a cover 3 the entire game. I mean, I'm sure that they did some man-to-man, but for the most part, it was probably in the zone and guys just not being good enough. You know what I mean? To know their zones and to play the way that they're supposed to play. That's pretty much kind of what I took away from it, at least. And it's just one of those things where they better hurry up and have a short memory because we've got plenty of football that's got to be played the rest of this year. And you got a big one on Thursday that's really going to pretty much determine whether or not you got a chance of still getting one of those wild card spots.
Exactly. Hey, Major Parlay, how you doing, man?
What's happening? Good afternoon. Sorry, catnap. I was drooling and all that.
Major Parlay.
Man, it's good to have you back. We're just over here, licking our wounds after our Falcons got beat. But let's get into the talk of the. We're going to go in reverse order, man, because we're talking about our big game, the Falcons versus the Patriots. But let's talk about the Patriots right now, man. Mac Jones is getting comfortable. They just routed Baker Mayfield and the guys, 45-7. That's not an accomplishment. A lot of people
I thought that defense was going to hold up. I saw a couple good passes from Mac Jones, but I'm not all the way sold on him being the next one, if you will.
Well, if he's the next one, it's a rite of passage for him to kick the Falcons' ass tomorrow. So we'll figure out if the Patriots are back because if they beat the Falcons, maybe they are back because that's a rite of passage. Tom Brady has never lost to the Falcons, so Mac Jones gets a chance to do it in his rookie year. We'll see.
And did y'all see Tyrann Mathieu' tweet about about Mac Jones. It's like, hold on.
Yeah,
We went to
basically saying that everybody's on him now, but originally it's quiet.
well, Honey Badger is just wrong because the way people spoke about Mac Jones, they said he's almost everybody I trust who evaluates quarterbacks. It's like he has a lower ceiling than most, but he is the most pro ready. He's not going to change a team. He's not going to be super dynamic. But if you put him in the right spot where he can be successful, and he's being successful, well, look what happens. You go to one of the best ran franchises in sports history, the best football coach in football history, and arguably the best offensive coordinator in NFL history. And guess what you get? Mac Jones looking great, whereas Trevor Lawrence looks terrible week in and week out, but he flashes, and you see great throws. Why? Because he's playing in Jacksonville with that terrible roster and that terrible NFL coach Herb.
Yeah, and then, I mean, look at it this way. He was prepared by the best, too. I mean, let's not just talk about the organization he's in. Let's look where he came from. Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are damn near the same people. They, I know that they're friends because Nick Saban was Bill Belichick's defensive coordinator in Cleveland when he was the coach in Cleveland. So they're coming. He prepared him to play for the Patriots. Like, you know what I mean? He was practically prepared to play for the Patriots. And that's why clearly Cam Newton's about to start a game on Sunday. That's why Bill felt comfortable enough to cut him, even though Cam looked good in preseason. So
imagine, Parlay, do you think the Patriots are really back? Do you think the dynasty just took a year off?
No, I think
call it a gap year.
Bill Belichick never went anywhere. Like when I was discussing last week's bets with Jew, he made a point to say, I was like Browns defense, rookie quarterback. I'm taking the Browns, and he made a point to say, but they got Bill Belichick, and obviously that stuck with me after the result of the game. But I'm not all. I don't think Mac Jones is bad, but I'm not all the way sold on it. I don't think he single-handedly beat the Browns. He made one. I mean, he made some great throws. He made more great throws than he did bad throws. But there was that one throw to Hunter Henry when they were up 7 points already, and that kind of sealed. You know what I'm saying? It put a dagger in the Browns when they went up 21. But I don't think that all of the Patriots are back necessarily. Yeah. They never went anywhere though. At the same time, Bill Belichick is a great coach, and he's going to win 8 games a year with a sorry ass team.
Yeah, and that's what they were last year, right? What are they? Were they 8-8 or 7-9?
They were 7-9, and they lost two games in the last play. And Cam was out there skipping rocks and not throwing the football.
Well, not to mention Cam missed games because of COVID last year. So you can't even hold that against them either. And so the thing is, the Patriots are always going to be. If there's one thing they're going to be, is prepared. And so you're not going to beat them because they just didn't. Like the Falcons looked unprepared. You know what I mean? Like they looked like they didn't even practice and watch film. Like, you know what I mean? That's
they did get beat by 40 points.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Laughing, baby. They got beat by 40.
You're not going to catch Bill Belichick getting 40 burgers by anyone. You know what I mean? Because his team is even if they're not good, they're going to be prepared. So guys are going to be in position where they need to be. They're not going to beat themselves by having holding and false starts and
block punts.
Yeah, PI calls, multiple PI calls. Like they're not going to lose games like that. And so I wasn't surprised. Obviously, with the picks, I took not only the Patriots to win, I took them on the spread and felt really good about it for 2 reasons. And which is why we can't overreact to the Patriots being back. For one, I get it that the Browns, I guess, they're in the hunt still for the playoffs. That Browns team really is overrated. And so they are, I think that going into the season, everybody looks at them like, man, really talented team. They got all these guys. Odell Beckham was non-existent. Jarvis Landry has been non-existent. So now you're taking away the 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers that you had. Austin Hooper has not looked anything like how he did with the Falcons for 3 years, as opposed to what he's looked like in Cleveland. Like, you know what I mean? He's been non-existent. You do have all-star running backs in Chubb and Hunt, but they've been injured and on and off. Like Chubb had COVID last week, or he was on the COVID list. And granted, that third string guy, I think his last name is Johnson, like He stepped in admirably against the Broncos, but that's not a good football team either. Like, you know what I mean? That team just got blown out by the Eagles. And so, like, that's not a good football team. So I can't put too much stock into the Patriots being back because I don't consider them as Super Bowl contenders. So to me, that is them being back if they're Super Bowl contenders. They're not Super Bowl contenders.
You know, you made a good point about the Patriots and the Browns, that Brown team, and how they're overrated and they have all these good pieces. But the main piece, you know, they don't have their queen. You know, you look at the chessboard, they got some good pawns, some rooks, some knights, whatever, all these other. I don't play chess, but the fact of the matter is they don't have a queen. And
Right.
And by not having a queen on the table, you lose. The game's over. You can have all these.
King is how you lose, but
Okay, whatever. I don't play.
But the queen is the most versatile piece on a chessboard. So at the end of the day, if you don't have a queen, if the other player has a queen, they pretty much the only thing they can do is try and lose to you. They should win. You know what I mean?
And that's where Cleveland finds themselves. And they got some decisions to make this off season because it sounds like Baker wants $40 million, and I think he's worth half that. Baker's a $20 million quarterback. I mean, on his rookie deal, sure, but if you look where he lands statistically, he's 27-27 on the career. People say, "Oh, well, what were the Browns before him?" Well, yeah, they weren't a great franchise before he got there. But they also loaded up on a lot of talent. They found a competent coach and a competent GM since he's been there, too. Let's not forget his rookie year. They only won one game.
Yeah, and I think that there's only but so many directions they could go if they don't pay him.
No, I take it back. They won more than one game his rookie year. That was the year before he got there. They won one game.
Yeah, we hit on this a little bit last week. And my thing is that I wouldn't pay him $40 million a year, but at the same time, what are their options? If they're not going to make a trade for Kirk Cousins or possibly like Matt Ryan or something like that, which that one seems like it's probably not realistic because of his cap hit alone. You know, it's going to be really hard for them to get a quarterback in there that will help them compete for a title now. And you know, they're not going to be able to get a young guy, that's for sure. Like, there's no young quarterback unless they somehow can get Deshaun Watson, because I'd be all in on that, to be totally honest with you. I would mortgage my next 5 drafts if I'm the Browns to get Deshaun Watson because you do have the talent.
So,
does anybody know when his legal case is supposed to be over?
I think February.
Okay.
Yeah, they said it like, where it was literally going to be like the week after the Super Bowl or something like that.
It's set up so that he could sit out the entire season and then get suspended for another one.
That would be such bullshit if that happens, though.
Oh, absolutely. He should get time served. If he gets suspended, bro, he set out the whole year.
Yeah, he already set out the year.
Wait, now that's my second question. Are his charges criminal or are they civil?
There's nothing. There's a criminal investigation and there's a civil suit out there, but there's not been any multiple. There's not been any criminal charges brought towards him. It's just a criminal investigation,
which is why they don't want to suspend him either. Because if they suspend him and they're wrong, he can practically sue the NFL.
He can come right back and sue him. It's terrible.
Yeah, he can sue the NFL for that.
Speaking of people suing the NFL, man, how do we feel about Gruden suing the NFL? I love it.
I mean, he's got a case. He's not saying that, like, you know, you guys are wrong for expelling me for being a racist. He's saying that, like, there are other racists and I was unfairly targeted. I mean, he's got a case. I mean, it wasn't everybody's emails didn't get leaked. It's just his.
Yeah, and for what they were investigating, nobody's even talking about that. Nobody's talking about Washington.
Yeah, it's almost
like
Bruce
Allen. The only thing that brought up about Bruce Allen,
people know we can burn y'all too, but this was our good sacrifice.
And the only thing that they even brought up about Bruce Allen was, you know, he sent pictures of cheerleaders to John. That's like his only. But the investigation is squarely on him and that organization and that owner. And for whatever reason, he's the person that's getting punished. Like, so I think he's definitely got a case, though.
I like it, too, because, Mark Davis asked for the emails to be released. The Players Association was like, hey, release the emails. It's like, no. John Gruden's the fall guy. And the thing is, John Gruden is loaded. He was already making crazy – he made crazy TV money. He had one of the richest coaching deals in the league. We don't know how much Bill Belichick is getting paid. So we'll say one of the richest coaching deals in the league. He can afford to take this to trial. He can afford to take it to trial because it's crazy. And this is not any of us supporting what he said. It's just like, hey, he shouldn't be unfairly the scapegoat for something that they're not even investigating. It's like, come on, man. Okay, you caught me committing a crime, but just because I'm trapping out my house don't mean that the reason why you next door is because you investigate some child cruelty going on over there. Don't mean that the negligent parents should get off scot-free. I just go to jail because I'm trapping out my house.
Yeah, and it's just what it is too. I think for him, the biggest thing is his reputation's been tarnished, and so it's going to be hard for him to get another head coaching job ever again in the NFL,
or a TV job,
or a TV job,
or football.
He's done. Yeah, he's for what it's worth, he's done. And so, from that perspective, the only thing he can do is podcast. If he wanted to, and I'm sure that there will be people that would still be because all have fallen short, right, of the glory. Right. And so,
Amen.
He can make his way out of this too. If Mike Tyson can bite people's ears and, spit them out on pay-per-view, I think that John can get past this. But at the same time, just because he didn't explicitly say something racist, like in my opinion, yeah, probably a comment you shouldn't make. But
there's also a thing. I mean, in a country that's got a First Amendment, these are private emails.
Yeah,
that too. And
if somebody was to go through any of our phones, you know what I'm saying, they will find something that doesn't sit with the public in our text messages. Like a text message and an email, there's not too much difference if you ask me.
There isn't.
Major Parlay, what happens if the locker room gets raided?
I didn't hear all that, but I heard something about the locker room. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck that is. So say that right
now. All right, man. So I want to play a little Baker game for a second with you all, right? Hey, Pop, Matt Nagy's back again.
For some reason, I don't know if it's my
what's Matt saying?
Same thing from last week.
That's not
what do you have against the Raiders and Henry Ruggs?
He must have interviewed for the job and didn't get it or something.
Oh, man.
I was thinking about playing this game of this or that with Baker Mayfield, right? Let's get back to Baker Mayfield a little bit. And let's talk about quarterbacks for this next contract cycle. So let's say, 4 to 5 years? Who would you rather have, this quarterback or Baker Mayfield? And the quarterback he played against last week, Mac Jones or Baker Mayfield?
You said Mac Jones is what?
Mac Jones or Baker Mayfield, who would you rather have?
If I have to give an answer, I'll say Mac just because we don't know. But we do know who Baker is. So I would give an incomplete answer on this in general because I don't know. But if I had to, gun to my head, fate of the universe, the Martians have the deafening, I want Mac Jones.
I personally, that's a tough choice. It's the unknown versus the, but I'm not a big fan of the quarterbacks under 6 feet anyway. There's Kyler Murray, there's Russell Wilson, but I'm not on the Johnny Manziel Baker Mayfield train, to be honest. So I think I would take the gamble on Mac Jones.
Tua or Baker Mayfield?
Baker.
Yeah, Baker.
Deshaun Watson or Baker Mayfield, but the thing with Deshaun Watson is you don't know where his legal situation is going.
Deshaun Watson.
I'll take Watson. Yeah. Look, if Michael Vick can go to jail for 22 months and come back out and get a second $100 million deal, Deshaun Watson sure as fuck can do it. So I'll take Deshaun. I'll take my chances.
Okay, Tom Brady, Baker Mayfield. Next 5 years.
Next 4 to 5 years. Give me Tom, man, because I could at least win a Super Bowl right now. Give me Tom.
Yeah, I'm taking Tom too over Baker.
Big Ben or Baker?
Baker. Ben's done after this season anyways, so.
I think that's fair. I think he is done after. If we're talking 4 or 5 years, yeah.
He gets injured and he's not good. I mean, so I know Baker's not good, but I'll take the 500 guy over the guy that's going to lose me games.
Burrow or Baker?
Burrow.
There wasn't hesitation on that one.
Yeah.
Bridgewater or Baker?
Give me Bridgewater, and I'll say why. If my team is currently constructed the way the Browns are, Bridgewater, I'm with you, Matt. I'm with you. Bridgewater is somebody that you literally do know what you're getting. Well, Baker is such a mixed bag. I mean, it's a mixed bag. He's not going to win you games.
Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield? Major parlay.
Baker.
Who you want?
I'll take Baker. Give me Baker.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to think who's good. Drew Lock or Baker Mayfield? Let's start putting him up against his true peers backups.
Who was that last one?
His true peers backups. That's fucked up.
I like Drew Lock
I
personally.
do too. And if you remember last year, I told y'all I was like, he might be a dark. Now obviously I was wrong, but I thought he could have been a dark horse MVP like candidate just because they had just drafted all that talent. Cortland Sutton was a solid receiver. Noah Fant's a solid tight end. They had Melvin Gordon. And then the defense was still top 10. And I was like, man, the Broncos might be a team you need to watch out for. But honestly, I'm only going to go with Baker for one reason and one reason only. He's at least proven that he can win a division and win a playoff game. So I can't take a guy that got benched for Teddy Bridgewater over him.
Got a question from Matt Nagy.
Fields or Mayfield? Fields.
I'm taking Mayfield.
The ceiling is way higher. Yeah, I know the Drew Lock take. It was a bad take, but it made sense. It made sense. He had went like 4-1 the year before in the games he started, and they added all that talent. So, kill me for that. But, I thought that he maybe Cowher was on the Drew Lock tip going into the season.
Now he's off of it. Let's get back. Back to the backup quarterbacks. Baker, Case, Keenum, given what their salary demands.
Keenum, because of if we're bringing up salary demands, Keenum. I can go 8-8 with Keenum too.
Major parlay, let's hit home for you. I know you changed teams, but let's go with Taylor Heineke or Baker.
I'm taking Heineke.
Give me Baker. Heineke's got like 3 wins.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel you on that one. It wasn't the easiest pick ever, but I'm taking Heineke. That just goes to they could be the same player. I'm going to take the one that's 6'1".
Last one.
I already know who you're going to say.
Who?
Matt Ryan. Baker. No?
Oh, that was going to be the last one, but I forgot I got one before that one. Mariota or Baker?
Mariota.
Baker.
And then for the final one, since you want to ruin it, Matt Ryan or Baker Mayfield?
Ryan.
I'll take Matt Ryan.
All day, every day. Jew would too.
I know he would. We know that, bro. How many yards did Baker Mayfield throw against the Patriots? 73. I bet Matt Ryan throws that in the first quarter.
I mean, the Patriots defense. 73 is terrible, right? Well, the Patriots defense isn't a defense you're just going to light up either.
That's true.
Nobody's come in and lit up the Patriots defense.
I don't give a fuck. You don't throw for 73 yards, and
we'll see what Matt Ryan does this weekend.
And think about it, he didn't have Hunt or Chubb, so it's not like they could run the ball. So they kind of needed him to throw the ball. You don't throw for 73 yards. You don't have your top 2 runners.
Cowher had a great stat on Baker yesterday. He's 0-14.
I love the fact that him and OBJ blamed each other and both came out with absolutely garbage games.
We'll get to OBJ in a second, but look, let me give you this last Baker stat. Then we're going to talk about the Chiefs. Kyler had this great stat. Baker's 0-14 in games in which his team did not have the most rushing yards.
The who?
That's a telling.
Most rushing yards.
Oh,
it's a telling stat that his team, whenever his team doesn't lead the game in rushing, that he doesn't win. I mean, but it's telling because you're saying that you can't depend on him to throw you into a win.
Exactly. Coach,
just about everybody that you named that I took over Baker could throw you, maybe with the exception of Bridgewater, everybody else that I took over him could throw you into a win over. Like they can win a game where they don't have any run game and that they can throw the ball and you will still win.
So the Chiefs had a big win over the Raiders. And now they're back sitting atop the AFC East. Were we too quick to bury the Chiefs, or are the Chiefs back? Are they the talk of the AFC, or did they just beat a overrated Las Vegas team, and a bad New York team, and they're just going to be an average to above average but not great team?
I think they're in the average conversation because even when we buried them, we also buried them too quick because when we buried them, the Raiders were like 3-0, the Broncos were 3-0, everybody else was just off to the hottest start, and the Chiefs were 1-2. So it was like, you guys are putting yourself back early. These other teams are competitors. So it wasn't that, you know what I'm saying, you're going to lose all your games, but it's are you going to come out on top? But I mean, 3-4, what is it? It's 5 games later, I think. 6.
Yeah, they were 3-4,
later,
now
so.
they're 6-4, something like that. Yeah.
And well, and I think that too, when you really break it down, the Chiefs were gonna be fine. You know what I mean? Like and we spoke about this on the playoff tip. I think one of the topics we had a few weeks ago was, can they make the playoffs? I said they're gonna make the playoffs. I said even if they don't win the division, they're gonna make the playoffs because for one, the NFL won't have Patrick Mahomes sitting out and he's not injured. Like they're not gonna have him sitting at home and you know he's healthy. So they were gonna make the playoffs. And it would have been compelling anyways, which they still can be a wild card team. It was going to be compelling to see him, if he's a wild card, team, to have to play on the road the entire time. That would be a nice little wrinkle into his story to see how good he really is too, which, I mean, we all know he is. He's great for sure. He is great. But I don't think that they're the team to beat in the AFC. I think the Bills still hold that title, even though they lost to Herb in an ugly-ass game. I still am going to give the edge to the Bills because they still lead the NFL in sacks. Josh Allen is still, to me, certainly he's one of the 3 guys that's at the top of that MVP board. And, I mean, the Bills already ramshacked the Chiefs in Kansas City. So I definitely can't put them over Buffalo. And,
Titans coming through, man.
What did Travis Kelce say last week? He did my man from that interview. He's like, I guess I got my swagger back. Oh. Like, I don't know, man. I guess they got it back, but it remains to be seen. I want to see them against some more competition.
Hey, they got Dallas this week, baby.
Dallas this week. So this will be an interesting test. Yeah.
Yep.
All over Dallas.
You and me both. I love Dallas here. So we all agree, or Major Parlay, do you agree that the Chiefs are not the team to beat in the AFC? I feel like it should be the Titans, the number 1 seed.
And that's another team that ramshacked the Chiefs. And so did the Ravens. Well, the Ravens didn't ramshack them, but the Ravens beat them too. So,
yeah, the Ravens disappointed us last week, man.
Oh my God.
Takes we want back, man.
I'm not a believer in that team. They're not skilled enough, and that's just the real truth. Like,
we're talking about the Ravens.
Yeah, they're not skilled enough, and the defense.
They lost all 3 of their running backs, so they've been, you know what I'm saying. But they're a team that could also get stronger every week with their new running backs getting reps. So it's
no, they come and go as how well Lamar plays, and they barely beat the Vikings in a game that they came back and won. They came back and beat the Colts. This team is fugazi, honestly. But that's why even last week when we talked about MVP, I said Lamar's got to be at the top because he really doesn't have anyone. And like I said, the defense is old. When Calais Campbell and Justin Houston are, and then you got Humphrey, I guess, but like those are basically your stars on the defense. Like that's an issue. Like them niggas are.
I would say
plus.
Lamar
like,
got the same
I mean? Like,
to work with as fucking Derek Carr. He's got, I think the Ravens got a better defense than the Raiders. And, Lamar really has the same weapons that Carr has. He's got a tight end and one deep threat receiver.
But Mark Andrews isn't even as good as what's his face?
Darren Waller.
I don't think he's better than Darren Waller.
Darren Waller's been balling out, but Mark Andrews is not.
I just don't think he's better than him. Mark Andrews gives me, in a weird way, who he honestly reminds me of, and I'm talking about somebody that is like his peer and that's like playing in the NFL right now. He really reminds me of Austin Hooper. Like they're really damn near the same tight end to me. And I'm not talking about Hooper in Cleveland because Hooper obviously sucks in Cleveland, but that's because his quarterback sucks. But he reminds me of Hooper was a productive ass tight end for the Falcons because he was going to be open. You know what I mean? And I know that he doesn't have the wide receivers around him that Hooper did, but like in terms of just in build and stuff, I don't know. They're very similar to me.
Who misses Matt Ryan more, Hooper or Julio?
Hooper, only because Julio's not on the field, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think Julio used to be a number 2 receiver too, and that shit is just probably fucking with his ego, if anything, nothing else.
But he should be more open.
What should be hurting his ego is that hurt hamstring he has. It's always hurt.
Man, you want to talk about damaged goods? Julio might have 2 more years tops. Because it seems like he really is breaking down now. And we noticed it. We've noticed that over the last 3 years, really.
I'm not going to lie. I think there's a secret load management going on in the NFL. Like, I think Henry got hurt.
That's funny. Somebody else has said that before, Matt Nagy. I've heard that. But I've heard somebody say that before that they think I said.
Yeah, and it's like I think the Titans are kind of just like the Titans can drop 3 games and still make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, and so I think they're like on some shit like maybe we should rest a couple of these guys.
Kyle Rudolph's a fair take too. But I would say more productive, obviously. Like Mark Andrews has been way more productive, but like the same type of tight ends, like that's why I compare him to Austin Hooper. And Austin Hooper's been a Pro Bowler too. Like, you know what I mean? So like I think it's a fair comparison.
So last topic before we get into the gambling piece, let's talk about this OBJ curse. There's been a lot of bad press around OBJ, honestly, for the last few years. He's a distraction. He's a deep wide receiver. He splits locker rooms. He throws his quarterback under the bus, this, that, and the third, and he's not as productive as he is famous. Some of it's true. Some of it's very true. But I think we need to properly contextualize these things. He came out and was trashing Eli Manning. Guess what? Eli was not a good quarterback anymore, and he retired shortly thereafter. His dad posted a video of Baker missing him while he's open, and guess what? We don't think Baker's good. So there's some validity to that. Then he plays 15. He had 15 snaps, 3 targets, 2 catches, 18 yards, and what's my man's name? Troy Aikman's on a radio show saying that Matt Stafford's falling into the same issues that Baker ran into because he's feeling the pressure to give OBJ the ball. Look, man, I don't know who OBJ is pissed off in the mainstream media, but it's obvious that there is I won't go as far as call it a smear campaign, but there's an attack against Odell Beckham Jr. You cannot blame Matt Stafford's recklessness, which he displayed against Tennessee the week before, which he displayed his entire NFL career on trying to feed the ball to OBJ. OBJ had 15 plays on the field. I don't think that OBJ was the issue with the Rams, but apparently we're going to say OBJ was the reason why Cleveland couldn't reach their ceiling. And guess what? They got trounced 45-7. And now we're going to blame OBJ's 15 snaps on the Rams getting mollywopped by the 49ers, who beat them every single time Kyle Shanahan's coaching against Sean. Major Parlay, do you give this OBJ curse any any credence at all.
Well, I say you can blame a loss on anything, and nobody can really. I mean, you can argue about it, but a loss is a loss. I think that there's a lot of negative stigma because just the sports in general. This is the reason why I'm a Wolverines fan, and I can't be a fan of any NFL team for real. Is because there doesn't seem to be any loyalty. Like once you start asking for trades from teams and you start becoming a a league man where you're rotating, it kind of is like. Yeah, well, we don't want to lose them. We want to do whatever makes them happy to keep them here. But I don't think that's necessarily a reason to blame your losses. Like you kind of knew that before you got them over there, whatever. But I think all the negative attention is really just because, I mean, he's asked for a trade from two places now. It gets to that point where you start asking for a trade from everywhere. People are just like, this guy doesn't want to make a team better. This guy wants to be on a good team. This guy wants everything to just fall in place. He doesn't want to work hard. He doesn't want to work past it. It gives the image that I'm not saying this is true about OBJ. I don't know what the hell, you know what I'm saying, but it gives the image that he doesn't want to work past any adversity. If there's adversity, he's just going to, you know what I'm saying, start complaining, make the adversity worse, and ask to be somewhere else. Whereas, for example, like Tom Brady moved teams and went to a better team, but there was never really Tom Brady asking for a trade. He played until his contract was up, and then he moved. And those are the two types of players you have. You have players that play until their contract's over and then go play somewhere else. And you got players that in the middle of their contract are like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be a Brown. I want to – and, before he actually says that, there's weeks of him not wanting to be a Brown or weeks of him not wanting to be a Giant.
I think that we can't say it just because he had one bad game in his first game. What did he sign there on like Wednesday or Tuesday, and they played on Monday night. Granted, he had the extra day, but like now they're on bye this week, so I think that him and Von Miller both are going to be able to get integrated within this bye week, because the Rams have got to have a bad taste in their mouth. I mean, you don't just shit the bed 2 weeks in a row on national TV and be okay with it, especially if you're considered a contender. I think that it's going to work itself out because even though Matt Stafford has looked like Matt Schaub in fucking disguise, he's going to be better. And I think that they're going to be better, especially with Robert Woods out. Odell will get his targets. He wasn't even on the field half the game, honestly. And I don't know if it was something that happened there, which looks like something might have just happened here with Big Baby. But we'll act as if it didn't. And so, yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily the case with Odell. We got to give it time with the Rams. By the end of the season, we will know, though, for sure. If he's just a guy that, is I'm going to move on. We're going to continue to, dodge adversity. I just think that he needs a little bit more time to get back in with the Rams. We've got to wait to see, because think about it. He went there for lifestyle, which is weird because the thing is that we know that is what it is that he's really into. It's the lifestyle thing. And
yeah. I mean, they've been doing terrible ever since that picture on the boat. Like, OBJ hasn't had a spectacular game for years since he took that picture on the boat. And that's when people started to judge him like, hey, man, this dude he's getting lost in the lifestyle. I mean, it's very possible to get lost in the lifestyle, dude. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's going to end up happening? Deshaun Watson's going to be a Miami Dolphin next year, and I bet that Odell Beckham signs with the Dolphins.
Well, Aaron's already trying to get him. He was at.
That was like a parlay in itself.
He should have went. I thought he should have went to Green Bay.
But Aaron said, I think he has a lot of good years left. And, that's just a little breadcrumb that, hey, if I stay up here in Green Bay and the LA thing doesn't work out for you, because he's still going to be a free agent, come on to Green Bay. Come on to Green Bay. And
or to Denver.
Or Pittsburgh.
I think if Aaron leaves, he's going to go to Denver.
I hope he leaves. No, I don't hope he leaves.
Even though he doesn't want to play, I bet he doesn't want to play Patrick Mahomes twice a year. But clearly the Chiefs look like, especially once that contract kicks in with them, they're cooked.
I don't think
like every other team. Like Matt Ryan's contract hamstrings the Falcons from signing anyone. They can't sign anyone. The Chiefs aren't going to be able to sign anyone. And granted, they have Kelsey locked up and Reek locked up. but they're not. They're going to have to hope that they strike gold with the running back. I don't know.
Or wait for that new TV deal to hit. Do y'all have y'all's picks ready?
So when you brought it up, I didn't know we were about to get to it so soon.
I'll go first. Give you some time to put them together.
Go ahead.
All right. So we had a pretty good week last week. We went Parlay Pete went 5-1 in college and 6-1 in the NFL. Bama kind of got us, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. If he bets the Falcons, be careful.
Fade it. And if it wins, then I've already made this after how bad they got beat. And mark my words, I will not be throwing the Falcons. Not in these picks, at least. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give them as a free pick anymore.
But you can still get those other picks on the Emporia app, right?
You can. You can see what I really think about.
And even if you pay for Emporia, I would still recommend not tailing my guy on the Falcons.
I have bet against.
It's not his fault. He's got a bias. You know what I'm saying? And he's not able to see his bias until the game's over.
Well, and that's where the hedging comes in. We hedge on the Falcons.
What are we like 6-point dogs this week?
7. The line's moved up to 7.
We're 7-point dogs. I like that.
And we're plus 250 on the money line. It's just God.
Here he goes.
I'm gonna do this.
Here he goes.
I'm gonna personally. This is not a part of my 6-pack, but I'm gonna personally do like $100 bet tomorrow. Just I need to see it. I need to see it. I do like the point.
Feel so bad for the guy that he has to see this.
Well, if Cordell Patterson doesn't play, I'm gonna avoid it at all costs because he has to play for them to win. Especially
do you think the Falcons are better than the Browns?
Calvin Ridley is randomly activated tomorrow, which I don't think Calvin's going to play the rest of the year. I don't know what the issue is that he's dealing with, but whatever it is, it clearly is hurting him a lot. And I don't know if it's a family member or if it's just mental health or whatever it is. But
did you say Calvin's activated for tomorrow?
You said what?
Did you say Calvin is activated for tomorrow?
No, I said if Cordell Patterson is out, and unless Calvin Ridley is magically activated, I wouldn't bet on the Falcons with the 10-foot pole. I wouldn't do it.
Before we get into these picks, let me just ask this: how do you guys feel about the Colts plus 7.5?
Who they playing?
They're at Buffalo.
They're playing the Bills
at Buffalo. It scares me because I watched every snap of their game against Herb's boys, and they came out like gangbusters, and then at the end of the game, they just could not stretch out their lead the way they were supposed to. And if Trevor Lawrence had competent teammates around him that he could throw the ball to, Marvin Jones Jr., I think they lose that game. So I'll be afraid of that.
Fade alert. I'd fade that shit.
For sure. Just curious. I'm leaving it off my picks. But I was just curious. It was on there at first. I do like the Colts plus 7.5. But it's Wentz versus a very good defense, which could be 14 points for the Bills defense easily.
Most definitely. Hey, I'm gonna need y'all to text me your picks when y'all get done because I don't have a notepad up here to write this stuff down.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, Parlay, you ready?
All right, let's get started. So I am gonna pick one over this week. For the record, I have a 1-10 record with over-unders, so feel free to fade this. But I'm going to go over 49 in the Packers versus Minnesota Vikings. All the Packers games have been under, and I think that is why this line is so low. Because I kind of like the Vikings money line, which I know is crazy, but their squad is stacked on offense. But with that being said, with them being stacked on offense and should be able to score at least 27 points, their defense is sorry as shit. So if they lose, the Packers are also going to score 27. So I just got that game going over. I like the Cardinals and the Panthers, both by the spread. And then money line, I'm going to take the Cowboys over the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Chargers beating the Steelers at home. And I'm also going to take the Raiders beating the Bengals at home. I'm not going to lie. Most of this Raiders bet is surrounded by the Bengals being distracted in Las Vegas.
Oh, you mean Zach Taylor and his craps addiction?
Yeah.
He just admitted to everybody randomly that
You also got some rookies and some I think it's gonna be Joe Burrow. He might somehow get distracted in Vegas. Probably not, but I do like the Raiders. That's probably my shakiest pick on there. Actually, is the Raiders. That one's not based on too much actual analytics.
How did I miss this? Zach Taylor came out and just told the world that he has a craps addiction.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna give you guys the solid 4 pick. Actually, we're just gonna say Cowboys, Chargers, Cardinals spread, Panthers spread. That's a solid 4 pick. You know what I'm saying? You might not make the 6 pick money, but solid 4 pick, or you can't lose.
You like it? I love it.
Did you just give us a 4-pack?
I did. I mean, I gave you some extras if you want to go crazy, but I gave you a 4-pack that's gonna win. All right, and let me tell you the odds on this 4-pack, because I mean, you take, you know what I'm saying, it's plus 1100. Okay, you're gonna get 10 for 1. It's just as good as a hop in the easy 8. You know what I mean?
And look at it, if you think about it, though,
362 is stuff of legends. I'll leave it.
There are some good quality craft beers that you can only get in a 4-pack.
That's true.
They get you right where the 6-pack gets you.
That the Doghead 90-minute IPA.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a 4-pack.
Well, I don't think either one of us has had a perfect week on the NFL yet. Have you? Okay, well, I haven't, so I need to cut some fat off the edges.
I think it was week 3 because I went 0-7 because I did a bonus pick the first week. I went 0-7 the first week. I knew that it was going to get bad. I just couldn't believe everything. I mean, everything. Wow.
I mean, bro, the first week was terrible. 10 out of 16 underdogs won first week, and 12 out of 16 covered.
Yeah, so probably P, you ready to give out your 6-pack? We're going NFL or college football first?
We're gonna go NFL just to stick to the theme.
Love it.
We got a hell of a 6-pack here. Obviously, like you said, we went 6-1 last week. Hopefully, people subbed in the bonus pick with the Patriots for the Falcons. That's the reason we put it there, anyways. Now we really put it there because of obviously I didn't know if Aaron Rodgers was going to be activated, which he was. So that was kind of the relatively easy pick. So. Let's get to this 6-pack. All right, so we're gonna kick this thing off the right way. So JP kind of just asked if you wanted to take the Colts plus 7.5. I'm on the other end of it. I don't even have to really think about it. I think the Bills are that much better than the Colts, and as hot as the Colts have been, they're due for a loss, and they're going to Buffalo. This is a team that they played in the playoffs last year. I'm going to ride with the Bills minus 6.5. So I'm going to buy the point because I think that they're going to win by a touchdown. So give me Buffalo. They got their get-right game against the Jets, obviously, but now they get to go back home, and they're playing against a team that's got some momentum, and now this is where they assert their dominance to where on Sunday night, when the Sunday night game is on, Florio, Tirico, Dan Patrick, like those guys, they're talking – Drew Brees, they're talking about, are the Bills really the best team in the AFC? Because I think that they're going to come out there and do it against a relatively good team.
Well, Al, Josh Allen, man, he's a tough guy. He's 6'5", he can throw it 100 miles, and he'll jump over you, Al. He's our MVP. We talk about Patrick Mahomes as being the cream of crop of quarterbacks, but Al, let me tell you, Josh Allen's right there with him.
I mean, can you imagine a guy like Myles Garrett being able to run and throw the football? That's Josh Allen, It's shit like that. Shit like that. But
drastic over-exaggeration.
We're going to roll with the Bills minus 6.5. Next game, as much as a Falcons fan, as much as I hate to say it, and for the next 2 picks, actually, I'm going to roll with the Panthers minus 3.5 at home against Washington. I think Washington losing Chase Young, is a big deal. But an even bigger deal is Cam Newton making his first start back as the Carolina Panthers quarterback a week after returning and playing probably 5 plays. But on his first run, he scores a touchdown. On his first pass, he scores a touchdown. I think the momentum is going to be too great. And I picked him up in fantasy, and I'm really hoping that he goes off. So we're going to roll, and they got him at even money right now. So I'm going to roll with the Carolina Panthers minus 3.5. I don't even have to buy the point. I think that they're going to definitely cover that spread. So give me that. And then, added bonus. Riverboat Ron is
I was thinking
Washington. It's a perfect reunion game for Cam Newton to probably go off, and McCaffrey looked great last week. So give me the Panthers. And that defense plays.
Yeah, the Redskins aren't stopping McCaffrey for nothing.
Yeah, and so
no Chase Young, they're deflated, man.
And so for the next game, once again, as a Falcons fan, I hate to say this, but give me the New Orleans Saints at plus money on the money line at Philadelphia. I think that Philly is a team that's not god awful, but like they do still suck. And I get that they beat Denver, but Denver's really not that good either. I don't care what they did to the Cowboys. That's still a team that's not really all that good. New Orleans has dropped 2 games in a row. I wouldn't be surprised if Taysom Hill somehow gets the start. I don't know if that's like been something that's been talked about or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if Taysom Hill actually ends up starting this game because Trevor Siemian just isn't going to get it done. But I expect it to be a relatively low-scoring game. But give me the Saints with the edge. They'll have Alvin Kamara probably back this week too. So I like the Saints in Philly. I think that they'll get it done. Not to mention they got to get some get-back sex for losing to the Eagles last year, because that was the game where Jalen Hurts, where people were like, oh, shit, maybe he can be the quarterback of the Eagles. And I don't know why everybody thought that, but I digress on that. So
Taysom got hurt Sunday against the Titans.
Yeah, well, look. Give me the Saints money line. I'm gonna roll with the Saints. Next game, we're gonna roll with the Packers minus 2.5 against the Vikings. Major Parlay shared something in the group earlier that was super interesting to me. The fact that the Packers have covered more than anyone this year against the spread. And I guess it's not that surprising because of who their quarterback is. But hell, they covered the one game he didn't play either. And I think the Vikings are just a team that, in reality, if they don't really score 27 plus points, they really aren't going to win a game. And even though I agree with you, because I do like the over in that game, I think that Green Bay, with another week back, with everybody back, I think that they're going to look even better. And one of the more underrated duo groups for running backs with Dillon and Jones, I think that that's an underrated duo of running backs.
Yeah,
they're really good together. And
so I'm glad you said that.
I think Dillon's going to go off again.
Is he on your team? I know that Jones
is. He is. That's not why I think he's going to go off, though. I think he's really.
You don't want to trade Dillon?
JP doesn't have any running backs.
Yeah, I really don't. Especially, I didn't even know Patterson was hurt. Now I'm like, holy shit.
Well, it's a game time decision. But that's why if I end up winning this week, I've got to trade for you to where I'm going to send you Christian McCaffrey.
I'll take it.
Because I literally have to. In order to make the playoffs, I have to win out, and the Panthers have a bye week coming up. So that's the only way that you can still make the playoffs without winning every week.
I'm only one game back.
I literally have to win every week in order to make the playoffs. So I've got to do what's best for my team to win week by week. And so, that tie.
That's disappointment, man. That's failure. I feel like Pittsburgh because it's Boink. I don't care whose record is better. Getting beat by Boink is like getting beat by Detroit.
Well, or tying with Detroit, kind of like the sorry-ass Steelers did. I hope that everybody hammered Detroit on points. As soon as they said Ben was out, I hammered it. And so, it didn't make any sense. It was just like, well, that's an easy bet. And so they covered. But anyways, on to the next pick. We got the Cardinals at the Seahawks. Don't give a fuck if Kyler Murray's playing or not. I'm going to hammer the Seahawks here. They have never been shut out with Russell Wilson until last week. They're back at home. Russ, I think now with another week under his belt, is going to be back to Russ cooking. And granted, I still kind of like I predicted at the beginning of the season, they're still not going to be a playoff team or have a winning record. But I think the Cardinals are a team that got off to too good of a start, and they're really not as good as their record says they are. They just aren't, in my opinion. They're not that good of a team. So give me the Seahawks on the money line here. They're plus odds too. I just like Russ to have that bounce back game against a division opponent that he typically dominates for what it's worth. He typically does dominate the Cardinals. So
these are not the same Cardinals.
They aren't, according to JJ Watt's IRS. But anyways, And then for the final pick of the six-pack, we're going to roll with the Monday night game here. Give me Tampa Bay to fucking burn the Giants. Last year, they played on Monday Night Football in New York, and it was a very close game, actually. I remember it pretty well because me and Major Parlay bet on it.
Are you taking them on the spread, though? You know Tom Brady's like,
yes, sir.
He's 0 for something against the spread in prime time.
I don't give a fuck. Give me Tampa to have that bounce-back game at home.
Man's got a bedtime, I'm telling you.
They got him at -11, so I'm going to buy the 1.5 just to make it 10 even. That way there's no discrepancy there. But I do think that they're going to win by double digits. Give me Tom Brady to have a crispy game. I bet that either Gronk or AB's back, too, to go with it. The defense will be showing up. And the Giants just aren't a good football team. So I expect them to really bounce back after a disappointing game against Washington and take care of business at 9.5.
Man, that's a great six-pack. And you bringing up Russell Wilson made me forget about a topic. I don't know how I didn't put it in my topics, but hey, look, Russ came back from rehab. First shutout in his Seahawks professional history. But the thing is, Russ is a cornball. Russ is all about his brand, his image. I mean, he had the camera crews following him around the whole time. And then somebody drops the nugget of, oh, yeah, Russ has been rehabbing 19 hours a day.
I love it. If you're a Seahawks fan, even though he's not going to be there soon, you got to love – as a fan, you got to love that shit.
Yeah, you got to love that shit.
You got to love that shit, man.
But do you believe it? I don't believe it.
I do. I think that Russ is that type of dude. I think he is that dedicated.
I mean, bro, for one, let me just throw this out here. When we're talking about dedication, we're speaking on a man that saved his virginity for marriage. All right, so we want to talk about
there. Exactly.
We want to talk about dedicated. Dude is God first. All right, people that have God at the center of their life like he does. Those are the most dedicated people there are. I'm just gonna leave that out there. Like,
no, those are facts. My dad is that way. Like, and I love my dad to death. He's one of the hardest workers, literally, that I know. But that's exactly how my dad is. God is truly the head of my dad's life, and he shows it every day in his actions. And it's I wouldn't be able to do what I do without him. You know what I mean? So like, that is
not knocking his dedication
because that shit's true.
But unless he was getting some treatment while he was sleeping, I just don't believe that he spent 19 hours a day. That only leaves 5. Like, so you slept for 5 hours. That's it. You didn't do anything else.
5 hours.
I mean, dude, the things that are distracting OBJ and even Derrick Henry during rehab, they're not distracting Russell Wilson, bro. Like, he's married.
He has Sierra right there. I'm not going to be distracted by the streets if I got
all
Sierra
about his family. Like, Russell Wilson, he doesn't care about going to the club. He's not. If anything, he's happy that he doesn't have to go to some events in Sierra right now. He's like, oh, cool. I get a little break. Get to sit inside, catch up on some Netflix and rehab. Like, I totally believe that Russell Wilson is sitting there rehabbing every second he's awake.
I think I do too. I believe that he was all in. I really do, because he's never been injured either. So like,
and I think he wants to win another Super Bowl, and I think he wants to have his family there. I think, you know what I'm saying? That man's all in.
I think he's going to be a Philadelphia Eagle next year.
I don't think he's moving his family to Philadelphia.
I think I'll give you a better one. I think he really is going to be where everybody has been saying he's going to go. I think the Giants are going to move on from Daniel Jones, and I think that he's going to be a New York Giant. They're going to be and they're going to clean house if they see fit. The ownership is going to ask Russ, what do you think of Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge? And I think that from there, he's going to get to make the decisions. And he'll be in New York City.
I said Philly just because they're going to have the best trade package, man. They're going to have 3 first-rounders in this year's draft.
Are the Seahawks going to want Jalen Hurts, though?
Russell Wilson light? That's a joke. All right, y'all. Thanks for the picks. Is there anything else y'all want to hit?
Yeah, my college pick.
Still got a 6-pack college.
Oh man, thanks. Look at me. That's why
man.
Everybody
Come on. We went 5-1 last week. How can we forget? We got to give the people the college picks too.
Well, we usually do those first, so that's why I'm a little thrown off. That's all.
I wanted to keep up with the NFL theme, but regardless, I've got them locked and loaded. So we'll go down the list here. We're going to start off with Florida State at Boston College. Let's take Boston College on the money line. They've been really good at home. Florida State is dog shit, but because they played well recently, they've been getting a lot of love, it seems like, from the bookies. So Boston College is a slight favorite here. We're going to take Boston College on the money line. I just like them at home, and Jurinovich is back too, who's the captain of that team. Solid quarterback too. But Boston College has been playing really well, and I just like them at home, and Florida State's not that good. So let's go Boston College money line. Next game, we're going to get some bounce back from Oklahoma, because even though I think they're done in the playoffs, if they win out, they will be 12-1. And depending on what happens elsewhere, the question will be, do you leave them out because they lost to a ranked Baylor team on the road? And 9 times out of 10, if they do in fact win out and they get to the Big 12 championship, that would mean that they would play Baylor again, which would mean they could avenge their only loss in a title game. I think that Oklahoma really has no choice but to win this game. They're playing an Iowa State team that's been such a big disappointment. Matt Campbell's going to be getting offers from USC and LSU now that Mel Tucker decided that he wanted a 10-year, $95 million deal. So give me Oklahoma -4. I like them on the spread at home against Iowa State. I think that is a team that if you're, I'm sure that Lincoln Riley went in there and told them, look, guys, this season isn't over, because if we lose this game, it is over. And more importantly, I won't be here. He'll hit him with the Magic Johnson. I'm not going to be here. You know what I mean? He'll probably sign the papers with LSU or USC, whichever one backs up the Brinks truck faster and with more cash. So give me Oklahoma, though, to get the job done at home -4. 1 second. It just refreshed. Okay. And then for the next game, we've got Michigan State at Ohio State. Interesting.
Ohio State by points. This is one of the few times you'll see me root for the fucking O.
Justice loves that pick too, but I went the opposite direction. I'm going to take the under in the game, and here's why. Even though Ohio State scores a ton of points and Michigan, basically their run has been on points, 68.5, man, that's a lot of fucking points between a team that last year Michigan State didn't score any fucking points. I expect this game to be slower paced and that there's a lot of running. And 68.5 is just way too many points in a game that means a lot. I don't see a shootout.
Ohio State's got a decent defense too. Michigan State's almost all going to be running.
And Mel Tucker's background, if they just paid him all that money, he's a defensive guy. I remember when he was the defensive coordinator for the Bears, when they had Jay Cutler, Matt Forte, Alshon Jeffrey, and Brandon Marshall. Yeah, and they didn't have Greg Olsen then. I forgot. The tight end was Marcellus Bennett. They were stacked. The Bears actually had, I don't know how the Bears, it's because Jay Cutler's not that good, but like the Bears were stacked at one offensively, but Mel Tucker was the defensive coordinator. So he's a defensive guy. I just don't see all those points getting scored to where they get over to 68.5. So give me the under 68.5 in the Michigan State-Ohio State game. Next game. We got UL Lafayette at Liberty. So interesting game.
Boy, betting against Liberty every week. That shit is hilarious.
I'm betting against them again here. I like UL Lafayette on the points at +4.5. I don't see Liberty blowing doors. And because I don't see them blowing doors, I can only possibly see this game getting covered by UL Lafayette. Really good team. They went 10-2 last year. Liberty was good last year too, but Liberty also has taken a step back. And even though Hugh Freeze is the coach and, they got their ass walloped by Ole Miss the last time I remember seeing them play, they're just not that good of a team. And so UL Lafayette should be able to go to Liberty and cover this +4.5. So we're going to roll with that +4.5. And then we got two more. We're going to get back on this Alabama bandwagon. We got Alabama versus Arkansas at Alabama. The spread is 21. I'm going to take Alabama -20.5 and buy half a point here. I think that Alabama still, even though they're number 2, and we all know what it comes down to them in Georgia. They need to keep asserting their dominance. The fact that Georgia beat Arkansas at home 38-0, Nick knows that in the back of his mind. They got to keep the status quo going. They need to blow out Arkansas. And so I see them easily covering this spread against Arkansas. Arkansas, solid team, not taking anything away from them. But they're not Bama, and they're not Bama. So give me Bama at 20.5. Like I said, I'm going to buy half the point just because they could literally win by 21, and I don't want to push. So give me 20.5, even though I think they'll win by more than 21. And then for the final game, big game with college playoff implications, and which is why I'm going to side with the road team that has all of the playoff implications in the game. Is the Pac-12 going to continue to get shut out of the playoffs? Is going to be one of the big questions coming into that final selection Sunday for the committee before they do it. Oregon at Utah. Oregon is a dog in this game. They got them at +3 as the odd as the spread. Give me Oregon money line. I think that they're going to win the game. Utah struggled last week against Arizona, and I picked them in the premium picks at least. I picked them to cover the spread against Arizona, one of the worst teams in the Pac-12 that hadn't won a Pac-12 game in like 18 games until they did the week before that. Oregon should take care of them unless they have another mulligan like they did against Stanford for their only loss this year. Give me Oregon on the money line.
All right, man. We got 2 6-packs from Parlay Pete. We got a nice 4-pack from Major Parlay, but he gave us two samples to take with us too, man. We got 18 bets here for you all, man. Mix them and match them how you like. Run them straight up. Make some money this weekend. Hey, man, I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, I took 2 picks from that.
Yeah.
College,
are you going to the game tomorrow?
Me? I don't have any tickets.
Is Gambles going?
No.
Well, there you go.
We can talk off air.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys. I'll see you tomorrow for sure. And either way, JP, you should come through in pregame, regardless if you go or don't go to the game.
Yeah, JP, I turn 30 tomorrow.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Yeah.
We're getting drunk. Oh, shit.
I got a bottle of Whistle Pig that I've got with your name on it that we're gonna open up.
Oh man!
Oh man, I feel so special. Oh my god, I feel so special.
Wait, are you turning at 12?
Huh?
Are you turning at midnight tonight?
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah, 30.
So we should have a hell of a time at the game tomorrow. I'm excited. Hopefully the Falcons can give you a victory for your birthday. I mean, that'd be great.
It won't a home victory.
It won't. Well, right. First home victory, and then it won't avenge the Super Bowl, but it'll feel good because we'll still be in the playoff.
They haven't won at home yet?
No, we haven't won a game at home all year.
This might be the upset of the week.
Plus 250.
I love it.
At least the points.
Oh man. I might bet $50 on it.
All right, y'all, man. I'll get up with y'all.
All right, for sure.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.